Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about Baby Driver, which has been out for a while now.
Yeah, I think this was the only showing today at like 10:15. Like, this is just about
how far out? I mean, we're weeks out.
Yeah, like, maybe even a full month.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Or just, like that. But anyway, we finally got to see this movie, and we decided to go ahead and do a video on it anyway. I don't know that we're going to have anything new to say about this movie that hasn't already been
a little briefer, because everyone's probably seen this movie.
Yeah, but it's never a good idea. It's never a good idea for us to say that. But this time we're going to make it a little shorter. But yes, we do want to keep in mind that everybody and his dog has seen this movie already. But I have still continued to get requests to weigh in on it. So we'll give you our brief thoughts. We just got finished seeing it, and in fact, we didn't know we were going to be going to the theater tonight. We had no intention of doing this evening.
I got a call from my boss who was just like, "Hey, you want to go see Baby Driver today? You haven't seen that, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we went, and CJ was there, and
so here we are.
Yeah,
and we'll do it. Yeah, it's too bad they weren't available to make the video with us.
That's true. Yeah,
that would have been kind of fun. And for those of you that
they had to get more boards.
That don't know CJ, he was in some episodes of Marvel Mania, and you will get to see him
in some
Batmania, yeah, and probably some other things down the road. But he has become one of my favorite commentary people. He's a lot of fun in those.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So this is an Edgar Wright film, and I have only seen one other Edgar Wright film.
Yeah, this is your first original Edgar Wright film.
It is. The only other one I've seen, of course, is Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna...
which I could see some of that in this. I mean, it's obviously a different thing, but I can see that he's got a real distinct directing style, and there are bits where I was like, oh, okay, I can see that.
His big trademark thing is the real quick close up on something.
Yeah.
That's kind of like his trademark thing. No, and
it's edited and cut in a similar fashion in some places.
At some point, I'm going to make you watch World's End, which is the last of the Cornell trilogy, because that's the science fiction one.
His movies are all about rhythm. It's all about that pacing, and of course, this obviously because it's so much about music. But, and Scott Pilgrim was also very much about music. But anyway, the rhythm of the cutting was a thing that I found familiar.
Yeah. He has a real distinct way of making movies.
But I always forget that he made Scott Pilgrim. I always think of him as just the guy who almost made Ant-Man.
And I do think it's interesting that he follows up Ant-Man with a heist movie.
That is really interesting, and I wonder if that's partly why, because he seemed to really have his heart in Ant-Man for a while. He was trying to make that for 10 years.
He's been working on it since like 2008. Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but seeing this makes me really wish he'd gotten to make that movie. I don't dislike Ant-Man.
No, it's good, but it would have been better.
But I think it would have been something real special had he gotten his mitts on it.
Well, and Joss Whedon has said that his draft of the script was the best script Marvel's ever had. So.
Oh man, that's rough. Well, I'm front loading a little bit, making it kind of obvious how I felt about this movie. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. Eric, flip your board and tell us how you felt about Baby Driver, sir.
All right, so we are seeing this really late, and so there is like a movie consensus about this film.
Yeah, that's right.
So my board is makes me long for better movie days.
Yeah.
So
you had so much space, you know.
I did.
You could have drawn cars like driving and hitting things and
here's the
murder.
Thing. I really like this movie. I think it's a really good movie. I don't understand the ubiquitous religious experience everyone has had with this movie. And having now seen it, I think our standards for movies have dropped so low. This is a real solid movie, and I feel like most movies that we put out are so subpar that this now looks... People are acting like it's like Pulp Fiction again. Like they've never seen a movie like this. I've seen this movie. This is a really good rendition of this movie, but I didn't have a religious experience with this like I think a lot of people did. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a really good movie. But I don't get the cult that has already developed around this film.
Okay.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. But I like this movie a lot. I have one actual complaint with the entire film. If I was going to do a best thing, worst thing. I'm gonna do best thing as John Hamm.
Really?
I really liked him in this.
I mean, I like John Hamm.
Okay. Here's the thing. The obvious best thing is like the soundtrack and how it's cut.
Yeah.
But that's really obvious, and like I don't want to be like the 4 millionth person to say like it's amazing.
Sure,
how he
but if I had
the...
to go to an actor, I would go to Kevin Spacey before I went to.
No, he was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like John Hamm in this. I thought he was really fun. I mean, Kevin Spacey was really fun too, but I really like John Hamm in this. But my worst thing is, so I complained about this in Blade Trinity, so I'm going to complain about it here too.
That's interesting. All right.
The entire premise of this movie is dumb. When you are doing anything that requires you to be observing the world around you, earbuds in your head is the last thing you want. I complained about Blade Trinity where like she listens to like fight music, and I'm like, well, you don't want music in your ears when people are coming up on the sides of you. I feel the same way about driving.
No, you're right about it there. You're not right about it here.
Okay.
Because if he has a constant ringing in his ears, he's not going to hear things coming at him around him anyway.
Okay.
Real well, he's going to be distracted all the time. He's going to be better off. He lives like a deaf person, basically.
Okay. I don't know. It seems
and
like that
and that keeps him focused, and that keeps him.
But he's still not hearing cars around him. Like I would think he wouldn't be a great driver because he can't pay attention to everything around him.
I think they do a decent enough job of making it pretty clear that he's like keeping his line of sight and stuff. But I hear what you're saying, and it's not like he can't like hear people through his earbuds and stuff. I mean, like, except for I would assume when it's really loud. And I mean, like, I know I just said like the ringing in his ears is loud enough. He can't, but like I think that's more like distracting than he can't hear things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it just that entire concept, I was like, I get that it's hip and cool,
look,
but
we have such a heightened universe here that that's a gimme you have to give the movie. And if it
I'm
was,
not making
if it was
like
a more
real complaint, but if I have
you called
anything
it
wrong
your
with
worst thing, and I can't.
Well, but I said my only complaint with this movie is, like, and I'll give it its premise, but
sure.
that was a thing where I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but you've got some really out there spectacular stunts that just are obviously impossible. Like
I guess best thing could be the Star Stunts.
How is
this is
that,
the best car chase stuff I've seen in
a long time. Yeah.
No, those are phenomenal.
I guess the only reason I'm arguing with you is that I don't see how you can quibble about that in a movie where John Hamm is able to get up that many times. I
don't know. I didn't even think about that. Not really.
Like when you get to the end of this movie, like he's at almost a Terminator sort of status, and it's like nobody dies in this movie until the script decides they do, and it's such a and it's not like there aren't consequences to actions. There certainly are, but like it is a John Wick level.
I didn't get it was that heightened. Like I got it was a bit heightened, but you think it's that heightened?
For certain characters.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of
certainly
that would maybe be my worst thing is that by the third act it went way more over the top than I felt like it was a universe we were in, where it became almost cartoon level, but. I don't know. I mean, we just saw it. I'm having a hard time deciding how much of a problem that really is, or if I was just seeing the universe open up a little bit.
But yeah, I think this is a really solid movie, but I don't get what the hoopla. Like, it's a really good movie. I feel like we used to have these kinds of movies a lot more. It's almost sad to me that like this became a phenomenon because we used to get multiple of this quality level of films every year, and specifically in this genre of the kind of action crime genre, we're barren for quality films.
See, we keep saying that, but then we keep seeing ones we like. I feel like we're starting to get into maybe a
yeah. You might be right with John Wick as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really liked it. I'm definitely feeling it. I thought it was really good.
May I suggest, and again, I don't want to put you under the bus or anything.
Sure.
But may I, because I think I maybe like this movie more than you
well,
did,
I am Mr. Reactionary.
Which surprises me because I felt like I was watching your kind of movie. I also, and I know I've been saying this a lot this year with Eric living here in the house now, but I feel like this was a movie that you primed me for. I feel like some of the action movies that you've been showing me lately, the Lethal Weapons and things like that, I feel like priming me to be more of a fan of this kind of thing. Like it didn't resonate with me before, and now I'm getting a little bit more accustomed to these kinds of movies and finding what's so cool about them. That I'm a little surprised by your reaction, and I feel like, if I may, you would have had a different reaction had you seen this night one.
No, that's
I think if you saw this the Friday it came out, and I know people have been talking about this a lot, but I guess part of my thing is I keep hearing this movie is great and the title of this movie thrown around, but I still never really landed on even what the premise was. I managed to not know too much about this going in. I just knew people really liked it. And I think that affects a lot of people I know more than it sometimes affects me. And I have had that before where I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing about this, and then I go into it and it's not as great of an experience as it would have been. But I feel like much of the time when I'm experiencing a thing like this, I manage to separate myself from that. Maybe.
Well, and I really liked this movie, but I feel like we used to get, like, if you really like this movie, go back to the 60s and 70s and 80s, you'll find a lot of this movie all just as good, if not maybe a little worse, and things like that. But like,
story-wise, I'm going to agree with you. Production level, no. This is a tour de force.
Okay.
When you're looking at the technicality of it.
I mean, I am blown away by the car chases. This is someone who's like studied car chases and like figured out how to make like amazing car chases that didn't have to just go and then more cars blow up.
Yeah.
And then we have 50 cars. Like, some of this stuff is real minimalist, but it's like astounding. Like just the cars pushing against each other to push the one off the side.
Yeah.
Like that was amazing.
Yeah, and you get a car chase that is spectacular as much of the rest of what's in the movie right away.
Yeah, it's like the opening scene.
We waste no time.
Yeah.
But then we also managed to outdo that enough, you know, that you don't feel like you saw the best action scene at the beginning of the movie. But it's all to that quality. I'll flip my board real quick.
Sure.
This movie made me feel like I was watching that classic decade-old heist movie everyone swears by, but I just never got around to seeing. This doesn't feel like it came out this year, and I feel like I'm a broken record because we've seen a couple things this year that have made me go, well, how is that not just sitting in a drawer somewhere?
This feels like a late 90s
this in a
movie to me.
positive way, as opposed to something like The Dark Tower, where I was like, well, why now? And that seems like the Dark Tower movie you would have gotten 20 years ago. This is, but I don't feel like this isn't fresh enough. It's just like I have a hard time with the phrase instant classic, but I actually kind of felt like that's what I was looking at. At least for the first two acts. I have my reservations about the third act. I feel like it's a movie that really knew what it wanted to be and then struggled a little bit to figure out how it wanted to close things out and still stay as fresh as it had been. I feel like we start to maybe veer a little bit too much into standard action movie third act stuff a little bit, where I was weirdly checking out a little bit once you got to the big denouement. And there is one great turn for a particular character toward the end that I didn't see coming and I liked a lot. But beyond that, with the showdown and then the chase after the showdown, like the false showdown, and then I don't know, like it was fine, but I was kind of ready to figure out I was getting impatient to see how it was all gonna finally turn out.
I had that a little bit too.
So that was really my only big major issue with it. The thing that is spectacular about it is, of course, not just soundtrack and the way the soundtrack with a character, it kind of like with Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, this is really the heist, the rated R heist movie answer to Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not just the way the music works thematically, and because that's all really good, and just how much music and how many different styles we managed to put in here and still give this movie its own sound and flavor. That's quite amazing, but also how the actual literal soundtrack with sound effects matches with it. I've never seen it done this much all over a film, and that is a real difficult thing to pull off. And every action scene does it, where you have like gunshots and car hits and punches and on and on and on that are all timed rhythmically to the soundtrack. And we do this with trailers all the time, and to see a whole movie that does it, there is a musical hidden in this movie, and it's really cool. I feel like this is one of those movies that separates music people from not music people.
And that might be some of it, is I'm not music people.
Yeah, and that was just, I was watching a music video with a really good story all the way through, and until I don't even want to call the third act mediocre. I just don't know if it's as great as the rest of the film. But that's why I thought it was a spectacular visual marvel. Also, visual storytelling is just stellar. You're also familiar with this director, and you're already expecting a certain level of quality, which I wasn't. So I'm just comparing this to heist movies and music in movies that are about music.
Sure. And music plays in all of his films, I think. He's definitely a musical guy. I mean, obviously Scott Pilgrim, but the Granello trilogy uses music as well.
I was impressed that as over-the-top as a lot of these characters are, so many of them came alive to me, and I cared about relationships, while you had complete out there nutso evil cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Especially with Jamie Foxx's character, and he kills it. He's great.
I thought sometimes he was going a little far. Like there was one or two points where I'm like, I get it, you're crazy.
Right, but then see, I was worried about that, and then he kept surprising me, where I was like, oh, you're that crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So like it's like his performance kept matching just how far the script was going to have him go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anytime he says he's going someplace to do something, just expect that it's to kill someone. It's not actually to do what he said he was going to go do. It's to kill people.
He just likes killing people.
Yeah. The choreography is masterful. It's spectacular.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that in the opening credits we have really prominently, I think pretty early in the credits list, the choreographer. And you don't usually see that.
And it's real short credits, because we have a whole opening scene, and then there's like 6 credits, and then it goes directed by Edgar Wright. It's real fast.
When I say choreography, I'm not talking about fight choreography. I'm talking about dance choreography. It's not a movie where people are dancing, but it requires a dance choreographer. I don't know who they hired to do that. I don't know who that person was. That name I saw there, but it's dance choreography, and there are a couple of spectacular oneers down a sidewalk that are unbelievable. So I don't know, when you say that we used to have movies of this quality, script-wise, yeah, sure, but level of production value, boy, I don't know. I think there's something really special here.
Okay.
And I get why people are flipping their lid over it.
Okay. I
certainly
don't. Well, and part of that is, this is far more dramatic than any of his other films, but I don't know if it's any. He's got more money, but I almost felt like, yeah, I've seen his movies. Like, this is how he makes movies. Like, I don't know. I wasn't blown away by it. Like, I like Edgar Wright. I've seen I've seen all of his films.
And that's the thing, is I haven't. So I mean, maybe some of what I'm reacting to is simply, oh, this is a creator that I like and didn't know it. You know.
Well, it feels like it's a thing that he's done in movies and then made a whole movie out of that thing he does sometimes.
Yeah,
so, like, I wasn't blown away. And I really liked the movie. I really did. Like, I feel like I'm coming off really negative. I'm not. I really like this movie. I just don't understand the phenomenon that's became immediately.
It sucked me in right away. Certainly, you're onto something when you say that our standards are too low, and I talk about that all the time. Where there certainly have got to be people that go see this, that if it came out, I mean, maybe besides some of the technical things that I was really impressed by, that if you just look at performances and the story that we're telling, that maybe 10 years ago it wouldn't have been as much of a phenomenon because that's just expected, or 20 years, or wherever you want to go. I'm not. If people are comparing it to Pulp Fiction, I'm not going to go there, because these are two very different things.
No, I'm not saying people are comparing it to Pulp Fiction, but I'm saying the reaction I'm seeing from people is like the reaction I feel like people had to Pulp Fiction, where it's like, I've never seen a movie like this.
I will say there are certain things this movie does that I'm going to have a hard time not like comparing other things to it for, because it does it so masterfully.
I really want to make you watch Drive.
I haven't seen that. I don't go to these kinds of movies that much. I mean, take my read with a grain of salt.
Drive is like this movie, but it's
darker.
Not funny.
Yeah.
And it's like super dark. Maybe that's part of it too. Was I've seen Drive as well, and this felt like a bubblegum Drive. Yeah, I don't know.
But we get everything from this protagonist perspective, and I think it's a really good character study. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, the way the levity takes over makes so much sense. I mean, like, you know, we had a discussion in the car about whether or not about you know, is it a comedy first, is it a drama first? I think it's certainly a drama first, but I think part of the reason it watches so comedic is because it's from this guy's worldview and sensibilities, and I think he has to kind of, I mean, like, when you're constantly listening to music all the time, and all these different kinds of music, and you live your life by that, and so much of it is like, I mean, he listens to some you know like sad or sour stuff, but he's not like an emo guy. Most of what he's listening to is really upbeat, and so that gives you a more upbeat film. And then now, I don't think that we also have an unreliable narrator where it's not as crazy as what we're looking at. I think it is that. So like, you do have a more heightened world, but I just think that part of the reason that we go that we make it as comedic as it is because of the protagonist we're looking at. And like I said, I just think that there's a pretty cool character study there.
Well, and he's a really interesting character. But yeah, well, and early on I thought this film was going to be almost dialogueless, and then people finally started talking.
Me too.
I was like, oh, this is a movie where they don't talk.
And that was one of the things I was really impressed with.
The thing that Drive did.
Once they start really cramming in a lot of dialogue, I'm like, oh, and the writing is this good.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really impressive, where you do finally get scenes where people start rattling off like a mile a minute.
Well, and
some of the banter.
I was a little worried because I was like, oh no, it's not. There's not going to be a lot of dialogue. But Edgar Wright's great at dialogue.
Yeah.
Why would you do this, Edgar Wright? And
it's because you're with a protagonist who doesn't talk much, and so early on, when you're just he's not by himself, but like the people in the car aren't important, you know, until later.
Yeah.
And so you're not hearing anything but the music.
I had a moment where I second guessed myself when they start talking about how he doesn't talk. Like that first meeting.
Yeah.
And they're like, he doesn't talk, and I was like, no, I heard him say something. What did he say? He said something. He said words. Oh, what's his name? He said baby. Yeah, he said baby. And then he talked.
I wondered if they were going to actually go with the sort of mute thing. And,
I mean, he doesn't talk a lot.
Makes sense that he doesn't. But yeah. I don't know, there's all kinds of other things we could say.
Yeah.
We should probably leave it off here. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was actually kind of special, personally. But,
okay. Well, and you are more of a music guy than me. And I am.
Yeah, so like, it tickled certain sensibilities of mine as well, and I just appreciated how extremely likable he was. You know, even doing all the things that you can't condone. I did kind of question just how far the love interest was willing to go. I questioned that a little bit.
After like 3 days. That was my thing. I was like, they barely know each other.
Yeah. They just needed to know more about her, maybe.
I do think it's really interesting. Yeah, because he just seems like a normal guy.
And his backstory is wonderfully well fleshed out.
When everything gets dropped on her all at once, there's no moment of like, I thought you were just this nice guy.
No.
She's just like, all right, let's go.
It's like she already knows what world she lives in, and she shouldn't.
I do think it's interesting that you could almost describe this as a heist movie without a heist. We never actually go in and do the heist stuff.
No, because it's about the guy that's driving.
Yeah. Because I kept thinking it was a heist movie, but I was like, well, we don't actually do the heist stuff.
That's true, yeah, and it's not ultimately important how exactly they're pulling off the heist, although clearly they have thought about that because of the diagrams and stuff. So like, the people making the film know how the heists are going to be pulled off.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Like, at least the people making it in their minds, they're making a heist film.
Well, and Edgar Wright puts an insane amount of detail into all his films.
Yeah, and I could really tell. But this is, I mean, this is about a kid who doesn't want to get his hands dirty, and so I really like that we never actually go in until, you know, and I guess we never really actually go in, but obviously, you know, he does get mixed up into things. You know, something, I don't want to go on too long, something that, this is maybe a minor thing to mention, but I was impressed with it, that we do a lot that's become, you know, a massive cliche, of course, is the metaphor of blood on your hands, and that's brought up and handled here in a really good, fresh way, that I was kind of impressed with. I like his I like his father figure a lot.
Yeah, me too.
He was a really cool, ultimately interesting character. And again, like, because of that upbringing, you know, you got kind of an Uncle Ben thing there. Like, because of that upbringing, you understand why he is as much of a good person as he is, despite the bad things that he does. And I don't know, I was really impressed with how you know sympathetic he was.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Well, folks, thanks for watching. We sure appreciate it. We will see you again next week with lots more videos here on Geekvolution. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Thanks for watching.